Welcome everyone, this is another episode of Black Asia Magazine. My name is Joshua Best and I'm here in Thailand with Ms. Aina Nikwilepo. She's with AsiAfrica Foundation, who supports the Black and African diaspora here in Thailand. So we're going to be learning more about her and our organization today. Thank you for coming through, Ms. Aina.
Thank you.
So before we go into the organization, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, like where you're from and what brought you to Thailand?
Sure. First and foremost, thanks for having me here today. I am from the country where the ocean meets the desert. It's called the Land of the Brave, and diversity paints our nation, and that's the country of Namibia. I came to Thailand to pursue my bachelor's degree in international business management, but along the way I discovered that Thailand has so much more to offer. I've loved staying here for the past 3.5 years. The people, the adventure, the food, and definitely the beaches has been my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you're enjoying it so far. So what would you say, which beach do you like the most? Which would you recommend?
I would definitely say go to Koh Chang. That has been my favorite place, my favorite island, and I'm planning on going back there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
No. And what's your favorite thing about it?
It's pretty quiet, it's chilled, and but there's so much adventure. And I think, personally, I don't like overcrowded places sometimes, so it was just the perfect place to be.
Awesome, cool. So then now going into the AsiAfrica Foundation, so what is their mission and how did you get involved with them?
So the foundation was initially established to bridge the best between Asia and Africa. And that was, I got involved because I saw the opportunity that coexists between the two continents. And initially, as I came here as an African student in Asia, there are challenges that I had personally faced with, but also other students had experienced. And this foundation, it offers the space for help, it offers community, but at the same time the foundation has its programs where it wants to form a bridge where knowledge and skill can be transferred between the two continents.
Oh, that's a very lofty mission that actually that's awesome. So then now how do you guys take all of that and then turn it into like what ends up being your day-to-day responsibilities?
So we have accountability programs, which is education and capacity building. We have culture, agriculture, arts and talents promotion, amicable dispute solutions, and business matching.
Okay.
So what we do is through bridging, we identify the needs, and then we use activities under these 5 programs to meet the needs, which eventually contributes to our long-term mission of bridging the two continents. But for instance, with culture, we usually organize fundraising events that are based on including African musicians and artists, giving them a platform to showcase their talent. So that falls under our arts and talent promotion program, but also falls under our cultural aspect of the foundation. But at the same time, we are not exclusive, so we include the Thai people to also showcase their Thai dances and their singing. But at the same time, we also showcase dances such as kizomba, salsa, and bachata, which of course has now become a worldwide thing. But for instance, like kizomba originated in Africa and of course evolved around the world.
Yeah, that's really interesting because now just inserting my own personal experience, it's I remember when I came here and then just going online, I actually saw there was a Thai DJ and then she plays like Afro-Latino music like in kizomba, and then I actually quickly got involved with the community here and I found out, and it was just like really beautiful to see that intersection of how I guess African culture is being embraced by the Thai people here.
Yes, definitely.
So with that being said, so then how do you, well, one, I'm curious, what would you say is the most popular or fun event that under that cultural umbrella that you're talking about?
So just to go back slightly, so the foundation was founded by Dr. Roland, and he's originally from Benin.
Okay.
And he vision of bridging Asia and Africa is supported by the co-founders, Mr. Frederick and Kun Laksami.
Right.
So together they carry this vision of bridging, and he is actually an expert in salsa and and kizomba and bachata. So he, under our cultural program, we have a dance academy.
Okay.
So we have actually just graduated one of our students in kizomba. So back to your question, is one of our successful events is Back to the Roots. That was hosted in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and it was all about showcasing the presence of Africa in Thailand, and we had the involvement of embassies, the Embassy of Nigeria, we had Morocco, and the various African embassies, and also consulates contributed to this event. And so through that, we had African people attend, we had Thai people attend, we had Filipinos, and people came from outside to come and attend this event. And the reason why it was successful is because we were able to bridge. There was no limitation on what culture was being showcased. There was no limitation on who could attend and who could not attend. But at the same time, we saw that people loved what we were trying to achieve, in the sense of bringing the two together, that they don't have to be to be separate, but the two can be merged and infused and still be enjoyed to the fullest of its capacity.
That's beautiful. So it sounds like it's safe to say that it was well received by the Thai community.
Yes, definitely. And even we have some pictures on our social media pages, AsiAfrica Foundation, that would be Facebook and Instagram, and on our website as well.
And then now, just I'm curious, what would you say like the demographics are, in terms of like the African community here? Whether it be, are they mostly students like yourself, or do a lot of people come from work? Or how mixed is it?
Actually, it's quite mixed. For instance, if I have to take my university, there's quite a big number of African students, and just to name a few countries, that would be Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Congo, Cameroon, and so much more, Cote d'Ivoire, and all these countries, West Africa as well. But then outside of varsity, we have other musicians that are here in Thailand, more of the working class, and which are also from the African community. And then we have African people who've been staying here on long term and have actually established their businesses, established their families, have gotten married. So we cover quite a broad scope, and as a foundation, we aim at building and getting the message out there that this is a safe place, this is a home for any African coming from outside, and there's always, if they want something to do, they're trying to figure out how to get themselves settled here in Thailand, they can come to us. And so that's basically what we've been doing.
Awesome. And then so it's one other thing that, because I know it sounds like you guys do a lot, and we talked about a lot of the fun things, like the culture aspects. And then I was looking on your social media, for example, and it looked like another thing, because you mentioned it was Mr. Roland, right?
Yes.
And I saw that you guys were actually taking part with on a governmental level, like cryptocurrency discussions or something.
Yes.
You mind telling us about that?
Yes, so we've been following, as a foundation, we have taken the responsibility upon ourselves to educate and bring awareness to issues that impact society directly or indirectly. And that falls under our education program. Not only are we focused on offering scholarships to students from Africa to study in Thailand or vice versa, but also we want to contribute more, as getting that in place is a long-term thing. But what are we doing on the short term? And as part of our short term, we've been following cryptocurrencies, digital assets, and we had a webinar where we felt that we had to educate people on what is cryptocurrency, first of all, what is blockchain and why do you need blockchain, and then of course a new spectrum of digital assets is the law, regulations, because so far there has not been any regulations in place in regards to what do you identify cryptocurrencies? Is it an asset? Is it a commodity? What are the legal implications? It's kind of just something that has been doing its own thing on a blockchain and so forth. So we had that webinar because we wanted people to know, and a lot of countries are starting to adapt to cryptocurrencies. Some are rejecting cryptocurrencies, and some are just in the middle. So those are the three categories that you have at the moment. And then so we most of the cryptocurrencies that we follow are focused on a project, a social project, such as Cardano. Cardano is working on a project in Ethiopia where they're building a system for schools to receive student information through blockchain.
Oh, wow.
So that is also another thing that we tell people, that when you're buying currencies or etc., you would want to know what project is this currency, the currency, what project are they involved in. So a currency with a course basically is what we advise. So so as a foundation, we've been following it, and also another thing is that we've started accepting donations in cryptocurrencies, which is also why we felt the need to educate people as to not just them asking why is this foundation receiving crypto as donation, but it's understanding that it's a revolution. There's a revolution in the financial industry, and it's being redefined. And we don't want to catch up to it later, but we want to go through it, and if we can, be ahead of whatever is happening. So and as you've seen, like for instance, El Salvador has adapted to Bitcoin as a render. So it's like what's going to happen with that, where we want people to know that this is happening, this is how it will affect you, because it has an effect on the monetary system. So basically that's that. I mean, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to digital assets, the regulations, the laws, and like what laws will be implemented, and how will we as society have to catch up to that.
Awesome. Okay, so you said a lot, and it's actually very interesting. So I think one question is to stay on the topic, but then also kind of address another point. Asia, Africa, Latin America, we're all trying to catch up. Yes. And so I one thing I've always found interesting is a lot of people, like the average person, when they talk, I think a lot of people when they think about Asia-Africa cooperation, sadly the first thing that comes to mind is maybe like China going into Africa, right? And people get really have anxiety around that. It's seen as just like another wave of colonialism. However, when you study, for example, Asia and Africa have had cooperations and trading since at least the 3rd century, right? But then so now that's one reason I was fascinated by the work you're doing, and fascinated by what you're saying now, because it sounds like what your organization is doing by bridging the best, right, and paying attention to what other developing nations are doing is, it's a more positive example of how this international cooperation, can benefit. So I guess just, is there anything you could comment, or any examples that you think you wish people were more aware of, or things that should be highlighted more in how the two continents are helping each other move forward?
Yes, of course. One of the things is that we have seen is that China has been able to penetrate Africa, but Asia is a big continent, right? And there are so many other countries that can also penetrate Africa, but we don't want Asian countries just penetrating Africa for their own benefit, but we want there to be an exchange. It's not just take, but it's give and take, and we build both continents. So Thailand and Africa, or Asia, let me say at whole, they were both once equally poor, right? But Asia has managed to rise above poverty. Yes, they still have some poverty issues that they deal with, but the fact is that Africa is left behind. And so looking at Thailand specifically as a country, it's one of the countries that has done so well. I mean, you could look at their infrastructure. So the question is, what has Thailand done that Africa is failing to do? So that's the first question that we looked at. And we looked at Thailand had a development, was focused on development, developing people, developing the community, developing the country. And I think that is one of the key things is in order for development to take place, you have to develop your people.
Exactly.
And Thailand did that through skill and capacity building. So that is one thing that we want, or that we believe that Africa or other developing countries should adapt to, is developing their people so that they're able to survive on their own without even being employed. But at the same time that they know a skill that can be imported by other countries,
right,
and we're gonna borrow your people, you know, and then send them back, because that's what we see. We see companies from Africa employing laborers from Asia to come do a skill-based job task and then send them back after a year, after 6 months. So it's like, why can we not, as a bridge, we want to take the skill, the capacity, the knowledge that is in Asia or Thailand and transfer it to Africa. And that is how we believe that that's the bridge that we want to form, and that's the bridge that we've been working on for the past 10 years.
Right.
And also vice versa. We have African delegations, like for instance, I think about 2 years or a year ago, Dr. Roland had Kenyan delegation that came for our program that is called Asian Leadership for African Leaders. Now, what does that mean? It means Dr. Roland has studied some of the successful Asian countries and their leadership, what they've done, how they've gone about poverty, development, infrastructure, and taken that and looked at countries in Africa that have similar characteristics.
Right.
And from that, he established this program where he's teaching on how the Asian leaders think.
Wow. Yeah.
But for African leaders. So you get to understand how they think. So they get to understand that you don't negotiate the same with A and B. You know, so the way you negotiate with A is one way, but if you're going to negotiate with B, you're going to negotiate another way.
Right.
And in all negotiations, ensure that the African country benefits, and it's just not a take. So it's a full program, and it usually runs for about a week because there's so much to cover. We do economy comparisons. We highlight the main imports and exports from the two countries of interest, and just give tools that our leaders can use to make Africa great again.
Oh, wow, yeah. So Dr. Roland sounds like a brilliant mind.
I would say he should be the one in this chair.
No, you guys do great work too. So then, during the end, so you mentioned Dr. Roland and yourself. So I guess who would you say the key members are, in the foundation so far, and what roles do they play?
At this moment, myself and Dr. Roland are more engaged in the day-to-day operations of the foundation. We do have our advisors as well, which we go to, of course. But when it comes to daily decisions, daily tasks, it's myself, as I do all the administration, the marketing and stuff like that. And then of course Dr. Roland, he's a man that wears many hats, and a lot of the time he has to change between his hats, but he does it so well, always keeping the foundation's interest at heart and first. So that would basically be us.
That's everything you're doing now. What would you say your vision is, or the vision is, for the near and long-term future?
Of course, due to COVID, there's been a lot that we've put on hold. And just to give you some insight on that, in October, we were supposed to do a Kizomba conference for the French Union members here in Thailand, and then it got cancelled. So not only do we teach, but we do conferences where we discuss the different concepts, because it's not Kizomba or salsa, it's not just a dance, it's a concept. You need to understand the rhythm, the beats, why do you do certain things a certain way. And so that got canceled. And then we had another fundraising event where we were going to take a specific community and dedicate that event to the specific community as a fundraising for the foundation as well, but also to network, to bring forth network for the specific community. That got cancelled as well. But one of our main short-term / long-term vision that we have now is to start an English program with one of our partners, and that is an English program up in the province in Sisaket, if I'm pronouncing that right, yes. And so in this province, there is a chili farm, so they produce chilies, and actually this business came to existence through our business matching program.
Right.
And so what we want to do is we want to take African people here in Thailand or here in Bangkok that would volunteer to teach English, and we would take them up to this province, still to be determined, probably like once a month, and they would go teach English over a weekend to these people. And with this program, what we are trying to achieve to get out there is that we as Africans here in Thailand still have the desire to give back to the hosting country. And teaching these people English is also equipping them for a future. If they were to leave their province one day, they have the skill to communicate with other people and they're not limited. And so that is one thing that we are working on. But then also with our education program as well, we would like to have about 5 students that we can host under our scholarship program within the next, 5 years. So that is one of our goals, of course, but also knowing the most difficult part of a foundation is the fundraising, the finances. We have bills to pay. But also that is one of the things that we are hardly working on, and just having that stream of revenue, basically, if I can say that, come in, so that we can do more for the local people, but also for our African people in Africa and here.
All right, cool. So you just mentioned about fundraising because you're having to pay the bills and such like that. So trying to help you with that, and not just that, but just kind of help in general. So now, if someone listening or watching this wants to get involved, how would they go about doing that?
So first thing is you can get involved with us by either partnering with us and donating in general to the foundation, and it will be allocated to one of the programs that we have running at the moment. Or if you would like it to be allocated to a specific program, you can also indicate that by sending us a message after your donation. But you can donate through our website. Under fundraising, there is a donate button at the bottom. But also you can get involved with us by signing up as one of our volunteers. So we have a volunteering list, and what we do is if we have any events or projects coming in that we are working on, we would then share it with our volunteers and ask if anyone wants to jump onto this project. Or so we are currently some of the projects that we are running at the moment is we just signed an MOU with NYC, which is an English program, and this English program is focused on bringing the program into Africa, and everything is done, and basically schools just sign up for it and it takes off. So through this program, we need volunteers that know or are from francophonic countries. So we actually just had one volunteer join us. So at this moment we are looking at introducing the program in Burkina Faso. And then we have another volunteer from Gambia that just joined us, and we have another one from Guinea. So those are our volunteers, and at this moment the English program is what they're working on. So basically connecting us to schools, French-speaking schools or Spanish-speaking schools in West Africa or whatsoever, or across Africa in general. And then we would introduce the program to them. And then another one that we're working on is an association for the handicapped in Burkina Faso as well. So we help other foundations or associations or projects raise funds. So if they have a fundraising and they need assistance, they reach out to us, and then through our available resources and capital resources, we then see how we can assist. So people can volunteer for that at the moment, or they can be a part of our list and volunteer for our future events, such as our cultural event usually needs like a whole event planning team and stuff. And we also take interns on depending, it's a case by case, but we take interns from either within Thailand or outside of Thailand. We host interns for the period of their internship, and we also do internship matching. So if students need internships using our network and our partners, we, based on their profile, we match them with one of our partners, and they are basically under our supervision but working with another company.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Outside of that, just curious, is there anything before we go, if you just want to, any general comments or anything you just want to put on record?
Yeah, so what I would like to say is just, like when you go to a foreign country or something, I think the best advice I could give is to always try and get involved in some way. That's how I personally got involved with AsiAfrica Foundation. I've always had a passion for development. I've always had a passion for volunteering and stuff. But also the vision that they carry is long term, and I could relate to the vision, and I wanted to support the vision. And so if anyone is out there that wants to support our vision, we would love to get to know you, talk to you, and just tell you more about what we've been doing. There's so much to discuss. But yes, bridging the best between Asia and Africa is what we do, and it's what we do best.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. My name is Joshua Best again with Black Asia Magazine, and I was just speaking with the lovely Miss Aina with the AsiAfrica Foundation. Signing off, and catch you next time.